my decree. Take a knee, peasant. Ace, your king is here. Death is my bitch. So what if I swagger? The wrath of a race.
Cabin pressure, individual oxygen masks will drop automatically from the panel above your head. If this happens, remain seated. Pull down firmly on the mask to start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Don't worry if the bag does not inflate. Oxygen is flowing. To secure the mask, pull one end of the strap. Adults traveling with young children, please attend to your own mask first. Your life jacket is stowed in a pocket beneath your seat or in the panel above your head. In the unlikely event of landing in water, remove the jacket from its pocket and place it over your head. Bring the strap around your waist.
Yo, shut up. Hey, hey, yeah, hey, hey. Mind the reflection test about extra, you might end up in a mess. Tell a man you are not like me, you ain't deep in the deep. No nurse, so your bones and get weak at the knees. On, man, better be careful of me. I ain't just another MC. I'll spin your clock 360 degrees, flat line on set. Man, I leave that to see. They don't like me, cause they ain't like me. They wanna like me, but I don't give two shit, so far the MC. Man, wanna value me with no license. Man can't clash with this Titan. You don't want your face in my mind when I'm writing. Man can't fly in this climate. I'm too cold, you're dying in this climate. I'm in the chest, cause you're already dead. I got no manners, I send man to rest. I'm letting on show, feel what's up and then. Some fingers and head, cheese and bread. Straight out of pocket, I just get an S-E-W-S-E-X. Man, I don't know, get me best, but a nice right here. Don't think that you're exempt. Hey.
Let's get to work.
Hello, sorry for the late start. Took a bit longer for me to make my tea. Hello, and welcome to my live stream. I am Tiffany, also known as Tough Angel Books on the internet, and as you can see, I have pets. I have a wonderful Bibble and my cat Ray. They actually are friends, even though stereotypically they're not supposed to be. So for today's stream, and I'm honestly not expecting a lot of viewers, I never actually do, but for today's stream we are going to be talking about the books I've read so far this year, because I have read far more in 2 months than in the last 6 years of reading, which is far bizarre for me. So just to kind of quickly explain, at the beginning of 2020, I set a reading goal of 40 books for this year, which I figured was reasonable because last year I started at 25, had to increase it to 35, and finished at 39. So I figured 40 books was manageable. This is the last day of February and I have completed 20 books. In 2 months, I am already halfway through my goal. And if I keep going at this rate, I'm going to have completed my reading challenge by the end of April. But with that said, I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go over the 20 books that are counted towards my reading challenge, just to see, just to kind of go over what I read, my thoughts and everything. And, you know, there are 3 books in this list that I have DNF'd. And for those of you who do not know what that is, it means I did not finish 3 books on this list because either I just couldn't finish it, or there was something about it completely putting me off that just lost my interest altogether. Now with that said, I'm going to have to lean forward a bit because I don't have my setup set up properly, but we're going to go through the 20 books that I have read one by one, and will have read or attempted to read, and just go from there. So the first book that I completed in 2020, why does this thing never want to cooperate with me? Okay. The first book I completed in 2020 was actually an audiobook, and that was for Daisy Jones and the Six. I started this audiobook probably like the 30th of December last year, and I didn't read enough of it to finish it, unfortunately. I didn't have enough to do to finish this, which is fine, because I finished it while I was cleaning up after New Year's Eve and everything. But while listening to this book, it was so well done and well written that I kept thinking, oh, I should look up Daisy Jones and the Six music. Forgetting that Daisy Jones and the Six don't exist. That is how well Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote this book. I have another one of their books, and I am so looking forward to reading it. What is it called? It's too far away for me to read. The other book I have is Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm hoping to get to it at some point this year. I have another 6 books that I really want to read to continue a few series or finish a few series before I get to another book by the same author. But this was really, really well done. This was a super easy 5 out of 5 stars for me. This was so well written, so well done. I got lost in the story while I was cleaning. I got so invested in the story that it was shocking that they didn't actually exist. The parts were written so well. I want a physical copy of this book. I only have the audiobook right now, and the audiobook was done by a full cast. So if you have not read the physical book and you want to get full immersion of the story, please get the audiobook. It is super well done and you will not regret it. It is so entertaining, so well done. I recommend it. The second book I also started at the end of 2019, and that was the second book of The Land of Stories, The Enchantress Returns, written by Chris Colfer, who a lot of people know as the one of the gay leads from Glee. The way he writes books is so well done because these are all, they're not, how do I word this? They're not generally twists on story tales, they're more a combination of the story tale world. And with that, kind of invites a new, how do I put this? It's a new perspective on the whole world, because this, both the first and the second story follow 2 twins that find out that they are related to Cinderella's fairy godmother. Her godmother is actually their grandmother, so they are part, by blood, they are part of the fairy tale world, and they are part of the mortal world. This book kind of is a continuation of the first book, which is when they discover the world, explore it, and they also have to, put, the first book is called The Wishing Spell, so they have to create the wishing spell, essentially, which can only be used once. This one, they thought they had defeated a villain, and, well, they thought that there was a defeated villain, but that villain, the Enchantress, does actually return, and you find this out very early on in the story. It's not a lead up or anything. It's very early on you get introduced to the Enchantress, and it's extremely well written because you explore what the twins have to go through, you explore what the world is going through at that time, which is a very interesting perspective on the fairy tale world, because what if there was a way to get transported into the fairy tale world and help rescue some people, well, some characters and everything. So I would actually recommend this to anyone who's a fan of fairy tales. It is a middle to early grade read, so it's super entertaining. The books are pretty thick, they're about that thick, but the font's super huge, so it's very easy to read. And if you're a parent and you want to introduce your kids to these books, I would actually recommend having them read all of the fairy tales first, just so they can understand all of the references and everything. Okay, the third book I read, and before I go on to the next book, Enchantress Returns was another, I think I actually, because Goodreads does not have half stars. I think I actually marked this as a 4 out of 5 stars. There were a couple things I didn't like about the book. I've read so many books that I can't remember the exact details of what I didn't like, but I know there was some things that I did not like that it didn't earn that full 5 stars from me. This next book, of course, earned a 5 out of 5 stars from me because it is Harry Potter, A History of Magic, A Journey Through Potions and Herbology. I was reading this before I went to sleep at night, so it did take me a few days to read this. It's not a long read, it's like 72 pages at most. I apologize for my dog eating in the background. Her food is in my room, and as you can tell, my door is closed, so she can't really leave, which is for the best. But, because she will just be in and out, in and out, in and out. So will my cat back there. So it's just better that they're in here with me, eating, drinking, whatever. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So this book I did take a few days to read, which was fine because I wanted to really read everything, explore everything. I shouldn't have actually read this before bed. I should have read this during the day when I had the notebook open, because there were a lot of interesting things to learn about in this, which was so, like, it genuinely was interesting. It was a whole history and understanding of what potions and herbology is, and how things were discovered and created, and how things were believed to be back in the day. So, and I think quite a few, if not most of the references are actually based in actual history. So it is quite an interesting read. I would recommend it. I am going to read the next 2 ebooks in the series soon. I'm just not sure when. Sorry, my dog eating is actually trying to drive me nuts because she's had all day to eat and she's choosing now to eat. Come here. Come. That's what I get for having a vicious pibble for a puppy. Would you lay down? Yeesh. So, no, this was, wow, okay. This was a very, I'm going to say interesting a lot in regards to the Harry Potter centric books, because they genuinely are interesting. The way everything's built, the way everything's researched and learned and understood and explained helps you understand the wizarding world a lot better, and how everything came to be and how everything became almost common practice. I have a pretty puppy. She's letting you all know. But no, this was super well done, even though it's the style of a textbook essentially. Okay, go lay down. Love her to bits, but touching on me sometimes. Lay down. I said lay down. Where was I? She keeps distracting me. Not good. Go to bed. You can wait till I'm done the live streaming to eat. You're just choosing now to eat because you feel like it. Sorry. But no, this is written as a textbook, and it's written very, very well. Like, it actually interests you. It's not just, oh, here's something you have to read. It's, here's something to help you understand the series that you fell in love with. And, like, I genuinely fell in love with this textbook, this text ebook. The 4 books were released end of August 2019, I believe. I think so. I believe it was 2019. It was either 2018 or no, it was 2019, because my best friend at work and I were both fully intent on buying it. And I did end up buying it. I don't know if she did. We'll bind them. But yeah, no, I would actually recommend this because even though it is written as a textbook, it is fascinating. It helps you understand herbology and potions class, and like anything that helps me dive deeper into the wizarding world, I'm all for it. I think I've read just about everything in the wizarding world right now, except for the next 2 textbooks, which I cannot remember offhand, and I don't really want to like be on my phone on a live stream. But yeah, there's 2 more textbooks. The first one covered Defense Against the Dark Arts and another topic. And yeah, so I am going to read the next 2 soon. I just haven't figured out when. And then we're going to move on to the first book that I DNF'd this year. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I did not get very far in this book. Mainly because I guess, I don't even remember the main character's name to be honest. But it was written in such a negative tone, and I had just gotten out of one of my depression episodes that I couldn't read this. I have not decided if I'm going to try again later on, but I had to stop reading this. I think I got like maybe 60 or 70 pages in. Got quite a bit in the story, and I just couldn't. It was just constant negativity of, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just... No, I couldn't. I really could not read this book. It interested me, but because I lost interest in the book, I highly doubt I'm gonna watch the movie, which, as you guys have guessed, like, this is the movie cover tie-in. This is the actual copy of the book I own. All the covers I'm showing you are the actual copies I own, which some of them took a bit longer to find than I suspected. But, yeah, no, this was the first one I DNF'd, and I just could not finish this book. I couldn't continue it. It was bringing my mood down, and everyone noticed. And when you have your peers at work noticing that your mood's dropping because of a book, yeah, you need to stop reading that book. The next one is a sequel to a series I started a couple years ago, and this book is The Copper Gauntlet by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I'm a little torn on this because I'm starting to actually second guess my review on this book, because I think I put it at like 4 or 5 stars. I'm gonna have to go on Goodreads. 2 seconds. I need to actually find this out. Ever just like click an app on your phone and for some reason you have to click it like 3-4 times before it considers opening? And I recently updated my phone too, so that shouldn't happen. Okay, okay, yeah, I put 4 stars on this one. I'm actually considering dropping it down to 5 stars, to be honest. Just trying to remember if I put it at like 3.5 or something. No, I put it at 4 stars. Okay. I'm actually wondering if I should drop this to 3 stars or something, because the story is very entertaining, and it is a continuation of the Iron Trials series. This is the 2nd book in the series, and I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I genuinely don't know how I feel about it, because there were parts of it that were so rushed that there wasn't a proper explanation for, and there were some parts that were over-explained that didn't need the explanation. So it's like, it was very hard to gauge. Like, it was a very good read. I did enjoy it, but because, like, in this one, you could actually tell that there were 2 authors writing this story. In the first one, it was almost seamless, but the way this one was written, you could tell two authors were writing it because of the almost conflicting nature of everything. And it was almost disappointing because there were a few things as to explain, like in the first book. Well, I can't really say this because it spoils the first book, but like in the first book, you have the main character, Callum, trying to figure out if he wants to do what his father had asked of him, or just go to the Imaginarium and just, I can't remember what it's called, Magisterium or something like that, Imaginarium? I genuinely can't remember. And the font is written way too weird at the top of this picture for me to remember. Whoops. But, yeah, no, it was just, this was almost disappointing compared to the first book, because the first book, I'm not kidding, it was seamless. You almost couldn't tell that there were two authors. This one, you could tell a bit more, which has me a little worried, because there is 5 books in the series, because it's supposed to be 5 years to this school. You know, same concept as Harry Potter. But, I might try the Bronze Key, which is the next book after this. But I don't know if I'll be able to complete this series, because if each book starts becoming more and more obvious that there's multiple authors, I don't think I'll want to continue this, to be honest. Because if it becomes more and more obvious, it kind of almost ruins the story, because it's almost conflicting information. Because, like I said, there were points that were so rushed that you wish you had more of an explanation for. And then there were other points that were so over-explained that you didn't need it. You genuinely didn't need that explanation. You didn't need a 2-page explanation for one thing that could have taken 2 paragraphs instead. I could understand, in the classroom settings, their mage that they're supposed to follow. I can understand him over-explaining stuff, but it was never the mage that they were apprenticing under that was over-explaining. It was either the 3 main characters, which, if I remember correctly, is Callum, Chimera, and I think Alex is the third one? Can't remember. I know it's CTA. Those are the name of the characters. I know the main character is Callum. But, no, in all honesty, the over-explanations or the under-explanations were either within the main trio, or from outside characters that you only actually meet for maybe a couple scenes in the book, which is kind of a letdown, and also in a way just because there's a trio and everything, almost makes it seem like they're trying to pull a Harry Potter, because it is a unknown private school that you get to stay at. Unlike Harry Potter, the 2 other people you're stuck with for all 5 years. And the 3 of you have to pass every year, or you're redoing the year, or you get kicked out of the Magisterium. Seriously, don't know the name of that damn school. Pardon my language. But this one, I'm actually debating if I want to drop it down to 3 stars now that I'm thinking about it. Which is a little disappointing. However, the next book I did read after this is a continuation of the Wizarding World. It was also the most recent movie release in the Fantastic Beasts series, and that is The Crimes of Grindelwald, the original screenplay by J.K. Rowling. I enjoyed this book so much. I purposely set it for one of my, for the book I read before I went to bed and as I was waking up. So I could, like, even if I didn't read during the day, I still got some reading in, which was my whole plan this entire time. Yeah, my whole plan this entire time, that went out the window at the moment I hit 20 books read. But no, I actually did enjoy this. I enjoy reading the screenplays almost more than watching the movies, just because it lets your imagination go wild and also lets you build the scenes in your head. Like, yes, I did watch the movie before I read the book, but I enjoyed the book more. Because, yes, the movie was very entertaining, and because I have, oh, there's the application. I'm trying to find the application on my screen, but one of my friends was nice enough to give me their access so I can watch the Harry... Why do I keep umming? But they gave me their access to iTunes so I could watch all of the Harry Potter movies whenever I want. So, all 8 movies, including the 2 Fantastic Beasts movies. So, that was very nice of them. This was obviously a 5 out of 5 stars. Come on, it's Harry Potter. The next book was kind of a reread for me, in the sense that I listened to the audiobook first, but I enjoyed reading the physical book. And that was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. This was I believe it was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I still have my Goodreads open, so might as well use it. This was a 5 out of 5 star rating for me because I enjoyed book Bella so much more than movie Bella. Just because, like, everyone knows that scene where Bella realizes Edward's a vampire. Except in the book, it's not that dramatic. In fact, Edward actually gets very pissed off about Bella's reaction. And if you have not read the book, seriously, read the book. It is genuinely interesting and you will not regret it because it's so well done. And book Bella is way smart. Like, so much smarter than she is in the movie. Like, yeah, there are moments where her character is smart in the movie, but, like, in the book, I think there's, like, maybe 2 or 3 dumb moments she has. So, no, this was super entertaining to read. I'm planning on reading the entire series this year for 2020. That's actually a personal goal for me. Goal for me. English, not working today. But, yeah, so I have all the books. I picked them up at a $5 a bag book sale. Except when I went, my best friend got a bag. I did not. I got a box. Which was kind of hilarious because I'm carrying around this massive box that I'm just loading up with books. And I was like, for $5, but I was able to get the entire Twilight series and several other books. I think including Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I genuinely can't remember how I came across that book now. Sorry, I'm trying to get more comfy. No, I have the full series. I do plan on reading them, and so far I'm genuinely enjoying book Bella way more than movie Bella. I might watch Twilight before I read the next book, just so I can have that comparison in my head. And then before I start the third book, read the Moon, so on and so forth. I might binge them all after I read the entire series. Still a possibility, I have not decided yet. The next book was also a sequel that I read. February turned into like a sequel-themed month for me, because there were a lot of sequels I read this month. And for this month, it was Beautiful Darkness, which is the sequel to Beautiful Creatures, the second book of the Beautiful Creatures series. And, like, I enjoyed the Beautiful Creatures movie, but the series is so much more entertaining. There is so much going on that's not explained in the movies. There's no real explanation for a lot of stuff that's done. But in the books, there's super, like, a lot of explanation. It's well written, well explained, well provided. Like, there are 2 authors for this book, and I cannot read their names on the picture and don't really want to walk across my room to get the book. I'm a touch lazy today, it's my day off. But, no, this was super, super entertaining. This was the continuation of Ethan and Lena's story. I was about to call her Leah. No, it's Lena. But it's a continuation of their story. In this book, they actually get divided a bit. Well, not a bit. They get divided a lot because Lena is blaming herself for stuff that Ethan learns later on in the story happened. So because she's blaming herself for stuff that he doesn't know, he can't really help no matter what. And it kind of sucks, but it's explained really well what's going on, how things are explained, how things are understood and everything. And, like, super well done. I'm going to say that for all of my 5-star reads, which I do have quite a few. But super well done. I'm looking forward to reading the 3rd book, which is Beautiful Chaos. Just, honestly, I seriously could not recommend this series more. And the hilarious story behind me getting the series, because I got them all for $20, because someone was selling them, had not read them, lost interest in reading them after buying them. My sister sent me the link to them, and I immediately responded with, "Oh, I've been dying to read those books," and bought them for myself. She wanted me to buy them for her. She never mentioned that it was a gift idea for her. Ever, ever, ever. She just sent me books, which was her mistake, because I still read quite a bit more than she does. But she does have a set of books that I've been wanting for a while, and I might look into getting. Just because I actually do enjoy the House of Night books. Sorry, I have an itch and it's just driving me nuts. But she has the entire House of Night series. I have one of the novellas, and no, it's genuinely interesting. I have read at least the first 5 books of that series, and there's 13 total without the novellas. So I am looking forward to, I'm probably going to get them all, and apparently they're turning it into a TV show, so I'm just like, don't screw it up. Do not screw it up like you did with Shadowhunters, which apparently it's supposed to be the same production team almost for Shadowhunters that's doing House of Night, and they screwed up the Shadowhunters story when Netflix did that. So I don't even remember what TV channel they were on, but, like, no, they screwed up the story. There was, like, if they went book by book, like, Season 1 was book 1, Season 2 is book 2, they would have had a lot going on no matter what. But they wanted to focus on fight scenes and magic and this and that and the other thing. It's like, no, just no. Because despite how the show portrayed it, or the movie portrayed it, because the movie screwed it up too by combining 2 books in one and calling it the first book. They screwed up so much that it's just like, I'll stick with the books, because at the very least, the books have more detail and more explanation for everything. Now, before I rant more and more about that, the next book I read was actually super interesting, and that was Before I Die by Candy Chang. This really was super interesting because this turned into a worldwide project. Before I Die was a wall mural that Candy Chang actually started in Louisiana. There was an abandoned building a couple blocks away from her, and she created Before I Die. And like the cover of this book, that is essentially how each wall looked. The original wall had, I think, like 5 or 6 columns set up like that, and almost every day she was cleaning it off. And a lot of people actually like the fact that she did that on an abandoned building, because a lot of the buildings in Louisiana are unfortunately abandoned due to storms and stuff like that. But a lot of people in that neighborhood were super happy that she did this, because it put something positive in the community. It wasn't graffiti, it wasn't vandalism, it was something positive, because she painted over all the graffiti in black, in chalkboard black, stenciled it out, and made containers to put chalk in. There were a few people that weren't a huge fan of it, kept destroying the chalk holders and everything, but people just kept bringing chalk, bringing containers. It got to the point where they just stopped destroying the chalk holders and everything. So, like, this was super well done. Like, you read the book and you read of all the places these walls were created, all the languages these walls were written in. Like, there's a couple that were done in, I can't remember if they're done in China or Japan. There were several done in various countries of Europe. I know that they were done, I think, in New Zealand and Australia, or one or the other. I can't remember. This is book number 8. So it's a little far back to remember all the countries. But this was done in, I think, about 48 countries. This is a super good read. I highly recommend it. You kind of want to make one in your community, just because it's that interesting, and it's, you know, and you also, like, you do see images of the walls in various parts of the world in those languages, and you also get, like, snippets translated in English as to what it says on the wall. So super, super interesting. I do recommend this book. Actually, I couldn't recommend it more, to be honest. And now we're on to the second book I DNF this year, and bear with me because this title is slightly long, but put 3 stars on this because some of it was interesting. Probably gonna drop it down to 2, but 100 Disasterly Little Detective Stories. I can't remember how many stories I got in before I just went, no, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I was trying to dive into the mystery genre a bit more, but I was trying to, sorry, my roommate is making coffee, so I was getting a little annoyed at the tapping. No. I was hoping to use this book as a way to kind of get further into, like, the mystery genre, but I think I'm just gonna stick with the Jack the Ripper series. Well, stalking Jack the Ripper series, because there were a few stories in this book that were so interesting that I kind of wish the book continued. However, like, I wish those stories continued. However, not the case. Because I was so annoyed at most of the stories I read. Like, I think I read at least 25 stories, maybe? I did not get to the halfway point, that's for sure. But I read quite a few stories in this book, and some were very interesting, and, like, I could actually see written out as novels with more detail and everything. The others were either, okay, yeah, it's just a standard mystery story. Here's like the body, here's the cause, here's what happened. But I genuinely just could not continue this story. For the life of me, I couldn't. So it sucks when that happens, but I just couldn't. Like, someone else may pick this up and absolutely love it, and at no point do any of my thoughts and opinions should any of my thoughts and opinions sway you from reading something or not reading something. But it's like, in my opinion, this was a horrible way for me to dive into the mystery genre. It genuinely was. Like, my actual start in the mystery genre was stalking Jack the Ripper. But it's like, now this was another one of those books that I was trying to set to read before I went to sleep and before I got out of bed in the morning. No, honestly, for me, this was a bad book. It just didn't work out for me at all. However, the next book was a pretty quick read. Genuinely enjoyed it, and kind of wish it was explained more. Well, no, actually, this was literally perfect. I gave Antisocial 5 out of 5 stars. It was so well done, so well explained, and it went into social anxiety and everything, because the main character has social anxiety, and this goes into kind of what social media does to people. So, like, in this book, everyone at the high school the main character goes to, which I cannot remember her name for some reason. I don't think it was mentioned much, that's why I probably can't remember it, because it was all her monologue, but there weren't a lot of people talking to her, or calling her by name. No, this was a super, super quick read, super well done. There were a couple points where I actually had this thought of, oh, this probably could have been explained more, and then thinking back on those, like, scenes, I'm just like, no, this was explained perfectly. Like, this can stay as it is. I genuinely hope I never see this as a movie or TV show, just because I know that they will ruin it. Because the way this book ended was so well done. I cannot recommend this book more. It's roughly 200 pages. I think it might be just a little bit over 200 pages. Super well written, super well done, and it's something I actually recommend people to read, especially if you have social anxiety and stuff like that, because this is a very... I don't know if Gillian Blake, the author of this book, has social anxiety, but if they do, like, this would be an Own Voices novel, but I don't know if they do, so I can't say that it is. However, if you do have social anxiety and stuff like that, like, this one, it cripples the main character at some points, and I do recommend reading it and enjoying it, and just, like, I just devoured the book. I almost wish I read it slower, just so I could enjoy it a bit more, but I devoured the book. It was so well written, so well explained, and yeah, it's just, honestly, in my case, this is a perfect contemporary novel. Because yes, there is a bit of teen romance, but it's not a focus. It's like, it's nowhere close to a focus. This is extremely, extremely well done. I'm sorry, I keep playing with my hair, I'm sorry. I need to stop playing with it so much. Next book is another sequel, because like I said, February was sequel month, second month of the year, so let's read a bunch of second books. Like, let's just continue with sequels in several series. But however, this was my first read of this series. This is the sequel, and it is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters by Rick Riordan. Yeah, I've never read this series before. When my best friend at work found out, she was so upset. She actually bought me the first... No, I think I bought myself the first book. She gifted me the Percy Jackson Greek Gods book, and then she also gifted me Sea of Monsters for Christmas. I recently purchased the last 3 books in this series, but it's super, super, super well done, and it's just, they were such quick reads. Like, this series is such a quick read, and it's so entertaining and well built and well explained. And oh my god, did the movies get everything so wrong. Sorry, I just realized we've been live for like close to an hour. Well, like 40 minutes now, and I haven't had anything to drink since I started streaming. But no, this was super well done. I enjoyed the story. It was fast paced. Everything was well explained, and yeah, no, everything was well explained. It was super well done. Sorry, I was checking to see how many like DNFs I had, but yeah, no, it's only 3. No, I am looking forward to reading the rest of the series. I do plan on finishing it this year since I now own the last 3 books in the series. This was an easy 5 out of 5 stars, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, the monkey getting comfy. She's just trying to steal the spotlight from me. So's that one. So the next book, I ordered it from Book Outlet earlier this year, and almost immediately regretted it once I started reading it. And it's not that it's a bad book. Genuinely not a bad book. But it is Archie, 1,000 pages, 1,000 page comics jubilee. So this is supposed to have like over 100 classic stories and everything. And I grew up with Archie. Like, Archie's always been entertaining, but I didn't read everything cover to cover. So I thought, okay, I'll try reading this cover to cover. Well, I did read most of it. I think I read like 800 pages of it. After marking the pages myself, for the record, because there's no pages marked in this, only within the story. So like, here's a 6-page story. Oh yeah, you're halfway through the book. Good luck finding out the page. But, no, the only reason I regretted getting this, and this ended up being, well, what my roommate and I refer to as bathroom reads. This ended up being a bathroom read because I'm okay with graphic novels because there's a bit of length and explanation and understanding as to what's going on. Not a fan of comics because there's none of that. There's absolutely none of that. I'm gonna stick with graphic novels. I'm not a fan of comics. Let me try saying that word again. I will probably not go near comics anytime soon. Like, if there is a single comic that catches my interest, I might read it, but I think I'm just gonna stick to graphic novels. They tend to have a better outcome for me. The next book is actually the series finale, and my thing's not cooperating. This was a trilogy finale for a trilogy that I started years ago, and the weird thing about my memory, especially the book after this next one, it's just gonna be proof of it. I actually, when I want to continue a series that I started years ago, I can do it. It's not hard for me. I have this weird memory of I'll actually remember stuff happening. But, yeah, no, it kind of happened with this series, and this book is King by Ellen O. And this is book 3 of the Prophecy trilogy, which is historical fiction, and like really, really historical fiction. I swear it's almost AD. No, BC, sorry. We are in AD. I'm pretty sure this was, the setting of this was BC. There we go. But, no, this was another really, really well done story because the main character, I believe her name is Kira. She is born with this ability that she can sense and see demons, and she has a tiger spirit within her that heals her overnight, so she could have like the most deadly injuries ever. But as long as she's left alone at night, her tiger spirit will come and heal her. And it's really well done. She, like in the first book, she is to protect her cousin who is the heir to the throne. And oh, Miss Crystal's coming to say hi. Oh, guess not. But oh, this was another, like, this was, in my opinion, the most perfect ending to a trilogy ever. The only other trilogy I could compare to it that I have completed, I believe. Oh no, I completed the Divergent trilogy, but the Daughter of Smoke and Bones trilogy, that one was really well wrapped up. The Divergent trilogy, Veronica Roth released an epilogue called We Can Be Mended. That was kind of the perfect wrap-up. But she had to release that. It wasn't well done in the book. Well, in the books. But like the Daughter of Smoke and Bones trilogy, that was super well done. Like, I love the way that that Laini Taylor wrapped up that story. But the way Ellen O wrapped up this trilogy was perfect. Because it put in your head what was going to happen next, where everything was going. And it was, like, I'm not kidding, it was perfect. It was super well done, super well written and explained, and yeah, everything's in the main character's perspective, Kira. I'm so sorry. Keep burping, sorry. Pretty sure that is the name. Gonna have to actually go look because that's gonna drive me nuts. Yeah, I was right. I was right, the main character's name is Kira. But, yeah, no. Why did I go like that? But no, this entire trilogy was super well written. I don't have a favorite in this trilogy. I actually don't. I really enjoy all of the stories. And it really is super well written, and I do recommend this trilogy because the books themselves are like about 200 to 300 pages, so they're quick reads. Everything's explained well. You can understand everything. There's no real issue with understanding anything, and there's explanations in the glossary at the end of each book. So it's, it's something that you learn. Like, one of the things that I had to learn very quickly was what a li was. A li is a measurement of distance, which is, since I am Canadian, it is the equivalent of 0.5 kilometers. So it's, you learn quite a bit, and you do have the glossary to learn pronunciations and definitions and everything. So yeah, no, it's super well done. You understand the culture a lot better. I believe this is more of an ancient Chinese culture, or at least something along those lines. Can't really specify exactly what it is, but it really is really well written and super well understood and everything. So, like, I honestly recommend this trilogy. I think you can get the entire trilogy on Book Outlet for pretty cheap. So if you live in the States or Canada, I think they have international shipping. I believe they do, I cannot remember. But you can go check out the series, and they have a load of other books, and they get a lot of new releases every now and again too. So, highly recommend. So what I was saying earlier about my memory, this next book is literally the definition of that, because this is another sequel. This is Crescendo by Rebecca Fitzpatrick. I had to kind of remember her name, and then I realized the entire series is kind of blocked from my view. But, no, this is the second book of the Hush Hush series. Yeah, this is the second book of the Hush Hush series. And what I was talking about with my memory, I read the first book, Hush Hush, back in high school, which is close to 10 years ago now, since I graduated. And like, I took this book out, and unfortunately it was at the time where exams were starting, so you couldn't really take books out for very long. And that was when I took Hush Hush out. I had enough time to read the first book. They had the entire series, but I only had enough time to read the first book. So, I remember everything from the first book. And that is, why do I have so much trouble remembering main characters' names? I think the main character's name is Allie or something. But in the first book, Allie discovers she's a part of a much darker world than she expected. And so she has to kind of learn from that and grow from that and understand it. And her life is put in danger both in the first book and the second book. I'm pretty sure in the third book as well. But, no, like, I remember everything that happened in the first book, so I didn't have to reread it. So I just continued with Crescendo and enjoyed the book. I think I read this in like maybe a day and a half, maybe. I do plan on finishing this series because it was one I was planning on reading the entirety of, but then, you know, I finished high school and couldn't take out books from my high school library. So, didn't have access. I bought the box set like a few years ago, back when I was still living with my parents. I hate paperback box sets because the actual box is not sturdy. So putting books back into the box set was very, very hard to do. So I gave up with the box and just had the books on their own on my shelf. I have a cuddly kitty. But no, this one, you know, same situation, life's in danger, but the main character, she learns a lot more about this entire series. Well, a lot about this entire series. She learns more about this world and her connections to it and everything. And she understands her place a bit better, but she also understands like why her life is continuously put in danger. Like, it actually is explained in this book a bit better than it was in the first. But in the first book, it was more introductions to the world, the introduction to her position in the world, the explanation as to why her life was in danger in the first book. And so this one is kind of understood early on that her life's in danger. But it's also, well, it's not just understood why her life's in danger, it's explained why and all the ways that can be done to protect her. So, yeah. I do enjoy this. I did enjoy this book. I think I put it at like 4 stars because there were some points that I just did not like. Okay, no, it was another 5 stars. But, yeah, no, I really did enjoy this book. Like, all the books except for the ones I DNF'd, I enjoyed. And, like, I do plan on finishing this series. Like, my goal for 2020 is to try and finish as many series as I own, and I own a lot. I'm curious how many I own. I have about 17 series that I either have like the first 2 books of or the complete series. I would like to finish as many of those series as possible. I have completed I've completed 4 at the moment. I have a lot of reading to do for this year, but that's okay. I'm already halfway through my reading goal, and it's only February. How did I end up reading so much? So let's go on to the next book, which was another... No, I think I've actually finished like 4 series now, because this was a trilogy finale. This was also well done as well, and that is Forever Song by Julie Kagawa. This is the 3rd and final installment of the Blood of Eden trilogy. And itchy. And I think this is where I was getting the name Allie from, because the main character in this book is named Allison. This is a post-apocalyptic world, and there are 2 diseases that kind of wipe a lot of people out and make vampires very well known, because vampires have existed in this world for centuries. But about 60 years prior to the first book, there were 2 diseases released. There was the red lung disease, which killed a lot, and there was a rabbidism disease that people could contract by simply being attacked by these beasts, and a lot of people just got turned into these beasts from initially contracting red lung and then it growing from there, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've read, what was the first book called? Oh, Immortal Rules. That's what it's called. Immortal Rules. But, no, this was just another really, really well done series, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I'm not sure... Why am I saying I'm not sure? Like, well, I know why I'm saying I'm not sure. I'm not sure a lot of people will like this, but I think if anyone wants to go back to the vampire era, this is another good one. I have a lot of vampire books to read this year. I don't know why, but I do. Vampires are the main theme this year, because I was, over the Christmas break, I was gifted 4 bind-up books. Each bind-up has 3 vampire-themed stories in it. So, those are also on my to-read list, but I haven't started any of them, so they're not on my goal to complete. Well, they're not on the series to complete task. But no, the way this one kind of ended, because the Blood of Eden, the whole prospect is to go to a place called Eden, and this is a place of prosperity, no infection, and it really was a place of no infection, prosperity. Vampires, however, were not welcome, and very early on in Immortal Rules, the main character, Allison, chooses to be changed into a vampire because she was attacked by a rabbit. And rather than dying because she was attacked by a rabbit and potentially turning into one, she elected to become a vampire. And this was super, super well done. Sorry, she was starting to have a nightmare. I need to wake her up. But, like, this was another trilogy that was really, really well wrapped up and put together and explained. Like, probably not the level of Prophecy, but definitely, like, in that range. Super well explained. I do recommend this trilogy as well as the Prophecy trilogy. Like, I am super happy that I completed these trilogies, because they're so well written, so well explained, and I just absolutely love those. And we are almost done the 20 books I've read so far. So only got a few more, and then I'll figure out if I'm ending the stream or going into a full-blown discussion with people. Have not figured that out yet, because there's not very many people here today. But I read this one. This one I was more reading for reference. because there is a project I'm working on that does involve witches. It's a personal project, so I'm definitely not going to announce it until I'm either comfortable with the initial product or comfortable with the final product. Haven't decided yet. But that book is Wicca by Scott Cunningham. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, mainly because a lot of the information I already knew from people I know who practice Wicca and who consider themselves to be, I think the term's Wiccan? I can't remember. Well, they definitely, they practice it, they believe in it, they understand it, and they also know not to cause any harm with it, which is one of the fundamental rules of Wicca, is you cannot use magic for harm. Because, well, you can't use anything for harm. You can't use any of the rituals or anything. In the very, very old ages, it was believed to harm yourself would strengthen a spell or a potion. This was very, very quickly discredited as, yeah, you cause harm to yourself, but most of the time it's to cause harm to others. Wicca today more focuses on balance and growth and understanding. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to read this. I ended up speed reading a lot of it because, like I said, I knew quite a bit of it. There's like maybe a third of this book that I didn't actually know, and that were some of the rituals and spells and stuff like that. I made it a point to not read the spells just because I'm of the belief that if you are not a practicing Wiccan, that's it, Wiccan. If you are not a practicing Wiccan, I don't believe that you should be saying any incantations just because you don't know what they'll do. So rather, even though I was just reading it in my head, I didn't feel comfortable reading the incantations just because I didn't know what was going to happen if something were to happen. So I just didn't do it because that is my understanding. Like, if you do not practice it, you should not be toying with it. Or, like, even if you're reading it and you read something without any intention of anything happening and something, you know, coincidentally does happen, because, like, I'm not a practicing Wiccan. But, like I said, I read this as a reference for a project I'm working on. And this was actually, like, the third that I didn't already know was very educational. It was definitely nice to read and understand and go from there. But yeah, this was like, in reality, I probably should have put it like 2 out of 5 stars. But 3 out of 5 stars because that 1/3 was actually very informative. And the last book that I DNF'd was Burned by Ellen Hopkins. I don't own the physical copy of this. I accidentally bought the second book of this duology off of Book Outlet without realizing it because I don't know who puts stuff on Book Outlet, but a lot of the times they don't mention that it's a part of a series. They just go, here's a book, you should know if it's a part of a series or not sometimes. And so I have, I think it's Smoke? No, it's just Smoke. I thought it was Smoked. Like, I have Smoke, but because of how very quickly I DNF'd Burned, no, I'm not reading Smoke. Not happening. So, the reason why I did not finish this book, there's a couple of reasons. One, this is actually the primary reason. This is a very religious story. That's fine. There's a lot of books that you read that have religion tied into the main character's understanding, explanation, and everything. However, hearing Latter-day Saints, or children, or Mormon, almost every paragraph while I'm listening to the audiobook, trying to start my day and make breakfast, immediately turned me off this story. Like, I got through the first audiobook chapter and immediately went, nope, marked as finished, I'm done, I'm not continuing this. I gave this a 1 out of 1 star because, like, there is a very brief mention of guns. Fine, whatever. Like, the brief mention was nothing violent. It was target practice with cans in the desert. Okay, safe way to do it. But it was just... I understand that there are some religions that do have strict beliefs. That's fine. That is their religion. But when it's so heavily mentioned in the first 20% of this book, I'm sorry, I can't. There's no way I am continuing this book because of how heavy the first 20% was. Not possible. It's just straight up not possible. Because I'm not religious. I'm not atheist, but I'm not religious. Like, you can talk to me about your religion. Fine. I'm not going to judge you. I do enjoy learning about different religions and cultures. However, I do not wish to have religion shoved down my throat. If I am intrigued enough to learn more about it and maybe go into that religion, that's my choice. This book, however, genuinely made it feel like I'm getting Mormon shoved down my throat. No. Just no. This was like one of 2 books that I put 1 star on, because I put 1 star on Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Because that book was overly negative and excessively self-deprecating. I couldn't get through it. Could not get through this one. I literally just tried to I got through the first Audible chapter, because there's no actual chapters in Ellen Hopkins' stories. Like, I read one of her books, and that was her book Impulse, which I related very heavily to several of the characters. And that was a difficult read for me, but I got through it, and I felt that relief of reading a difficult topic and understanding what these characters were actually feeling, because I could relate to them. I'm definitely not reading Smoke, because I could not get through Burned. Burned, and I cannot stress this enough, was excessive with the religion references, with the religion being shoved down the throats. Well, being shoved down my throat, essentially. That's what it honestly felt like. It felt like Mormonism was being shoved down my throat, and I'm not a fan of it. Like, if I wanted Mormonism shoved down my throat, might as well have a Mormon just read me their Bible, or their version of a Bible. The Book of Mormon, that's it. Might as well just have a Mormon just read the Book of Mormon to me, because if I wanted a religion shoved down my throat, I might as well have the actual book being shoved down my throat. This book, and this is my opinion, this book, I could not. Not happening. This was the last book I DNF'd so far this year. I'm hoping I don't DNF many more, but it's kind of depressing when you DNF a book that you were so interested in reading because of the way it's written, because you're so focused on religion. And like, I understand the main character's conflict with the religion, but maybe put scenarios where those conflicts made sense. Not... Oh, hey, Mardox. But yeah, this is definitely one of those books where religion was such a heavy topic that I had to stop reading it. If it wasn't for the fact that I purchased it from Audible so long ago, I would have returned it. But now I'm kind of stuck with it in my library. And, yeah. Anyway, next book. So the next book I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I picked up this book at a book. No, I picked up this book a while ago. I've been meaning to read it, and I saw like good reviews about it, and that is The Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. Because of the word Grisha used in it quite frequently to explain a certain type of people, I should probably actually go read the first trilogy set in this world, set in the Grishaverse. But Six of Crows is actually very interesting. Like, the tagline of this was six dangerous outcasts, one impossible heist. Like, this was super well done. I'm a little annoyed at the fact that it was left on a cliffhanger, but this was 5 out of 5 stars. No issues. I am going to go hunting for Crooked Kingdom, hopefully in a similar style to this book. Just because I know that this was a specialty edition that I was able to get from Book Outlet, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I got this from Book Outlet because I remember because there's a mark on it. Book Outlet likes to mark their books once in a while. But that's fine because they don't mark inside the book, they mark like under or over the book. Under or on top, sorry. Several of those names are actually pretty hard to pronounce, but the characters were very well written and explained, and like their backstories were not shoved in your throat at the beginning of the book. They were worked into the story later on and explained very well how the characters knew each other, how they met, what were the individual backstories, what were the joined backstories, like how did they meet, and how did they become to trust each other so much. So this was a very good read for me. I enjoyed this. I finished this in 2 days. I think maybe a bit more than 2 days, just because I started this right after just giving up on Burn. But I read this pretty quickly. And like, I do recommend this. This was 5 out of 5 stars. It was such a well-written book, and I do recommend it because Lee Bardugo is an amazing writer. This was the first book I read by her, and I look forward to diving into the Grishaverse, because I believe there's 6 books total, a trilogy, the duology, and a standalone, if I remember. But yeah, no, I am looking forward to continuing this series. It is super, super well done. And like, I can't get over how well written this book is. I genuinely cannot get over it. And the 20th book that I've read in 2 months, just to preface, 20 books out of 40 completed in 2 months. This was a very short read. This was like just over 200 pages, and that is Soul Sessions by Carson Gage. This was actually a very interesting read because the main character, again, I'm having issues with names. Nick, that's it. The main character's name is Nick. And the way this story was written was so well done that I'm kind of happy there was a movie made, because I want to go see the comparison. It's not a very popular movie, but there is an actor I do enjoy some of his work that stars in the movie version of this. And because I saw like his Instagrams about this movie adaptation of this book, I got interested, and this was actually my first purchase from Book Depository. And like, this was a really good read. I read this in 1 day, and it, like, the main character, Nick, has depression and anxiety, and he tries not to let it rule his life, but he realizes even though he's diving into work so much and everything, and his relationships become almost hollow after a while, it starts wearing on him. So after hanging out with some of his friends, he gets he gets a referral to a therapist who does regression therapy. And as it is explained in the book, is regression therapy allows you to see past lives, to try and understand, you know, what is going on in your current life, what are you missing, and stuff like that. Like, this does have the belief of reincarnation in this story, but it's not like, it's not a constant you must believe in it. It's more of a, what would happen if you were actually reincarnated? What does your soul do? What, you know, is your soul imprinted by any of the previous lives, or does it, you know, affect your life currently and stuff like that? So in this book, this isn't much of a spoiler, but we do see 3 of Nick's past lives. And towards the end of the book, he takes an interesting, like, him and his therapist take an interesting route in the regression therapy that helped him kind of understand what felt out of place in his current life. And, like, the only issue I have about this story is that Nick very quickly understood how regression therapy worked. There was maybe a 2-page explanation, and apparently first session, got right in it, understood it, was able to do it, no issues. I have issues with that, just because meditating in itself is a hard thing to learn. And that's just quieting your thoughts, trying to be at peace with everything. I did really enjoy this book. I do recommend it for people who read more adult-styled books. Like, it's not really an adult book, but it's written in the adult novel style, almost. Like, it's not adult romance. It's definitely not. Because one of the first things that happens, literally, first paragraph, Nick gets slapped by his current girlfriend. So, yeah. Just to give you an idea of the very quick realization of there's something going on and what's going on. So, like, I think I gave this like 4 out of 5 stars just because this was one of those books that, it was one of those things where some things just did not make sense. Like, how did he, how was he able to do it so quickly? But then again, regression therapy is a form of hypnosis, so that does kind of explain it, but not fully. But I did really enjoy this book. I'm currently on book 21, and I don't have the dust jacket on it, but I'm currently reading Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco, I believe is how you say her last name. Maniscalco. But this is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper. It is a mystery. It's in the mystery genre. I think it's also in the romance genre. I'm not sure. All I know is the only thing that's kind of annoying me is how focused it is on the relationship very early on in the story. And, like, between, oh my god, what? Audrey, that's her name. Between Audrey and Thomas, the relationship is so heavily focused at the beginning of the second book that it actually drives me nuts, but you do find out how they meet and everything in the first book. This is a 4-book trilogy. 4-book trilogy. Yes. No, 4-book series. I have the first 3 books. So I have Stalking Jack the Ripper, which I have read. Currently reading Hunting Prince Dracula. The next one is Escaping Houdini. And they keep renaming the last one. It was supposed to be something with the devil, and then it's like the evil one or something. Like, there's a lot that needs to be explained that's not actually explained properly for the last book title, because I can't remember it. Because I know that there's like a 3.5 book released for between book 3 and 4. I'm probably confusing their titles, that's probably why I'm confused about it. But I'm currently enjoying it. I'm over halfway through it. I'm almost... What page am I at? I'm on page 279 of this book out of 400 something. I keep reading 400-page books, and if I can start them very early one day, I can usually finish it in 2 days, which has been a theme lately, which is why I'm trying to figure out what my next reading goal is going to be. But on Soul Sessions, I do recommend if you are interested in reading adult-style books. I was thinking of doing a read with me session of this, but I think I'm not going to do that. So I'm just gonna quickly change the title of this for when people rewatch it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm currently halfway through my reading goal. I'm waiting till at least I'm at 35 books before I decide what my next goal is going to be. I haven't decided if I'm going to double it or just add another 10 books and make it 50 books. I have not decided yet. I will decide closer to when I get to 40 books. But those are all the books I've read in 2 months. The 3 books that I DNF'd, did not finish, and the 17 books that I read in a very short amount of time. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I'm hoping to get a schedule worked out soon. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but I am hoping I'll get one worked out so I can live stream more often, because this is rather fun. I think the last time I live streamed was some point in 2019. I can't remember, but I genuinely do enjoy live streaming. I do enjoy interacting with the book community. Next time I live stream will probably be earlier on in the day. The only issue is my dog will be constantly opening my curtains, which will throw off the white balance. But yeah, that's it for this live stream, and I wish you all happy reading and a wonderful weekend if you guys are currently on the weekend like I am. Happy reading!